What has gone so horribly wrong with Blue Jays Nation? Here it was, Thursday afternoon prior to Game 1 against the Seattle Mariners at Rogers Center West, otherwise known as Safeco Field, and the club had yet to announce a starting pitcher. The honor did eventually fall to reliever Tyler Clippard as Toronto settled on another bullpen day, but it was a prime example of how things have gone this season. Josh Donaldson was supposed to have been in top shape after returning to his own workout regimen in the off-season, but he had trouble throwing on opening day and has battled upper and lower body issues all season. Rick Matinick, Toronto Star, they say hindsight is 20/20. Coincidentally, 2020 is also the year, if things go well, the Jays are looking to return to contention. It was not always thus. During the course of every major league season there are turning points that either lead a team upward or else signal the start of a death spiral in a season best forgotten. The worst thing for fans, when their own team is a seller at the July 31st trade deadline, is that in most cases the reason for the fire sale came down to on-field performance, and once your team sells off expensive, veteran assets, you're likely staring at an uglier final few months. The 2016 Yankees were an exception, but most teams, after the sell-off, go into a free fall in their division, usually relying on prospects to sell the future to the fan base. Entering this season, the Jays brass seemed to honestly believe they could return to contender status by bringing back their veteran stars and filling in other holes during the off-season. After all, wasn't it the key injuries that sabotaged their attempt for a third straight trip to the postseason in 2017? Article continued below. So they didn't trade Josh Donaldson for prospects in December. Knowing shortstop Troy Tulowitzki was iffy because of injury, they acquired Aledmys Diaz and Yangervis Solarte as depth. They signed veteran lefty Jamie Garcia for $10 million to complete a solid five-man rotation, on paper. And they tried to complete the bullpen with veterans like Clippard, Sung Win-Oh and John Axford. They were wrong. Many of the previous year's issues repeated themselves. When we look back on the disappointing 2018 season, there were at least 5 glass-half-empty moments that pessimists would have warned us the worst was yet to come. Here they are. Roberto Osuna's arrest. One of the most successful young closers in baseball was arrested for alleged domestic assault in the early morning hours on May 8, and immediately placed on paid administrative leave. That same night, Canadian James Paxton tossed a no-hitter for Seattle at the Rogers Center, and Jays fans gave an opponent a standing ovation for beating their club. Marcus Stroman had started against Paxton and later was placed on the DL with what was labeled shoulder fatigue. He did not pitch for 45 days. Osuna, at the time, was merely on paid leave, but days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months. Court appearances came and went without resolution in Major League Baseball, and the Players' Union agreed on a 75-game suspension for the game's best young closer. The loss has proved disastrous for the best-laid plans in 2018. Bullpen implodes on May Day vs. A's, on May 19, with a chance to claw back to .500, holding a 4-0 lead in the 8th inning, the bullpen blew up. Axford allowed 1 run while retiring just one of 4 batters, with Clippard entering and giving up a Chad Pinder grand slam to complete the comeback. Maybe it was then they realized the significance of Osuna. The Jays never threatened .500 again. Article continued. Belaware and Sanchez gives finger to hometown debut, coming off 3 solid June assignments, starting a game close to his California home in front of family and friends, and starting against the Angels for the first time at the Big A on June 21. Sanchez left after 2 uncomfortable innings with a finger contusion and has not pitched since. The big right-hander has had nothing but finger issues since leading the Allen era in 2016, but this one really hurt. In what has been described as a freak injury unrelated to his previous blister and tendon woes, Sanchez knew he was hurting before he arrived at the park but tried to tough it out. Sanchez had made 3 starts of 100-plus pitches with a 2.95 ERA in 18 and a third innings, with 20 strikeouts before that Angels game. He was on the road back Josh Donaldson's opening day, the 2015 MVP promised things would be different in terms of his health after missing 49 games in 2017. He said he was returning to his own workout regimen after taking the advice of the Jays' high-performance and medical staff for a year. But on opening day the alarms went off when the muscular third baseman could not throw the ball across the diamond to first without maximum effort. His reduced offensive and power numbers can be blamed on upper and then lower body injuries, not age, but his presence as a leader has been just as sorely missed. Jamie Garcia. In the case of the 55-foot slider, after going 2-2 over 5 starts in his first Jays month, Garcia suddenly lost his ability to command the ball and throw consistent strikes. Catching him became an exercise in athletically blocking balls and self-preservation as he inexplicably lost the plate. The 32-year-old went 0-6 with a 7.00 ERA in his 10 starts before going on the DL with shoulder issues following his June 19 effort. In those 10, he walked 26 batters in 45 innings and allowed 8 homers. He has returned to the bullpen, the original investment and optimism of Garcia being a key to the rotation died on the vine. Richard Griffin is a sports columnist based in Toronto. Follow him on Twitter, @GriffinStar.